So this will be
wonderful.
Perfect. So this will be made available to all of you, teams and Bertelssphere for future reference. As we go through the demo day, you'll note that there'll be a presentation first and then a Q&A session after. For the Q&A session, Lauren will remind you, either raise your hand with the function or feel free at any point to type questions or comments into the chat box, of course, and we'll work with those as well. And now, back to you, Lauren.
Thank you for that, Robert. So let's start off with our first team, SLYCE, and I will turn it over to Danny.
Hey, everybody. I'm Danny. My partner here, Sharik, is joining us. He's a developer. I'm going to just share my screen if you give me a moment. All right. As I said, my name is Danny. I'm a music attorney based in Los Angeles. I've been working in music for about 20 years. And my partner, who's a developer, is named Sharik. Around 2020, I had clients start to ask me to draft legal agreements related to music in Web3. A label client asked me if I could draft a legal agreement for a music compilation with multiple artists on it to be released. Another client asked me if I could help them license music for the metaverse. We created SLYCE to try to resolve issues concerning music agreements and music monetization in Web3. SLYCE is a licensable legal application for music rights holders in Web3. What is Web3? You can think of Web3 as a catch-all phrase for things like cryptocurrency, the metaverse, NFTs. When we are talking about all of these things, we are talking about Web3. What does a music release in Web3 look like? It could refer to an album or a single release as an NFT that might be limited in number. It could be a performance by an artist in a virtual space that a fan can watch via VR headset, or background music for a virtual experience in the metaverse. The problem is that Web3 is the Wild West of music rights. Laws regulating the space are slow to develop. Rights holders need to be able to quickly and easily come up with terms and payment arrangements agreeable to all parties. The traditional ways of monetizing music do not or have not been applied to Web3. To understand this, we need to understand a little bit about copyright law. One song has two copyrights. One in the sound recording, which you can think of as what you hear, and the other in the composition, which you can think of as written music and lyrics. The sound recording copyright is typically assigned by an artist to a label, which has a right to monetize that copyright, sometimes alongside a producer. Oftentimes, songwriters assign the composition copyright to a publisher like BMG, and the publisher splits the song income with the songwriter. Most folks at minimum agree that when music is released in Web3, it involves a copyright reproduction. And if music is used in Web3, it requires a license of some kind. And the creators of the music recording alongside the rights holders should be compensated. However, all of these systems in place to monetize CDs, vinyl records, streaming, etc., do not apply in Web3. So music rights holders are coming up with structures amongst themselves to split net sale proceeds or licensing fees. This is novel and exciting and creates new opportunities for fair compensation. So my partner and I created SLYCE to help facilitate compensation arrangements for artists, songwriters, producers, labels, and publishers. What is SLYCE? SLYCE is an application that helps music rights holders quickly and easily deploy and confirm compensation arrangements. Once compensation is confirmed, the arrangements are stored via blockchain database in an unchangeable form. Pursuant to the compensation arrangements, SLYCE issues payments to each rights holder wallet or can convert to US dollars. The technology can be incorporated via API into an existing data system and also works with any wallet. Now we're going to look at the SLYCE application. So what is neat about SLYCE is that it applies to how creators come to an agreement concerning a song now and in Web3. So any person, it could be a contract administrator, it can be a collaborator, can create a new deal. The person can add information like the song title, who the recording artist is, and add owners, for example, a label. In addition, they can add contributors or collaborators. We've added various different collaborator types. For example, a producer, a songwriter, a feature artist, and their information can be added. We'll look at songwriter, for example. You can add in the songwriter's percent, their PRO, their IPI number, so that's identifying information, as well as who their publisher is. Once the data is entered, the deal can be deployed to the collaborators or the rights holders. And the rights holders can review and sign the deal. Once the deal is confirmed, SLYCE can take net sale proceeds and distribute them amongst wallets of rights holders. Rights holders can add their wallets, or for public companies, their interest can be converted to US dollars. Why is SLYCE a better way to create agreements and distribute compensation? SLYCE can be deployed quickly to collaborators for confirmation soon after the collaboration. This avoids the wait and cost related to long-form agreements and the delay and/or broken telephone due to intermediaries. Once the information is entered and confirmed by all collaborators, it is saved via blockchain. Polygon is what we'll be using, which is transparent and becomes unchangeable unless all the parties agree to make a change. And this is beneficial if there is a music catalog transfer or sale down the line. SLYCE is an application that is meant to be integrated via API into existing data systems that the music industry already uses and can also integrate with tools familiar to the Web3 community. And ultimately, SLYCE streamlines the music agreement process and can help your company and collaborators capture this new stream of income. Thank you. That is the presentation.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Danny. It's always exciting to talk about fair compensation for artists and how that works behind the scenes. Now I'd love to open it up to our audience for Q&A. As Robert mentioned before, please use the raise hand function, or if you'd like to put your question in the chat, that will work as well.
Does Axel have a question?
No, sorry, it was just a mistake in clicking. I want to give an applause only, so sorry for that.
No worries. Thank you, Axel. So I guess I'll just make a comment if there are no questions right now. You know, I guess, Danny, it's been really, oh, Anna's got a question.
Yes, always. I'm so sorry.
What do you
But,
This is your expertise. Stop apologizing. You know how much we've learned from you and your questions? Never hold
Thank
back.
you. That's so lovely. I love SLYCE. My question would be about metadata, because I saw that there was only very few information. Is this just as the example, or how precise will this metadata be in the end? Because I think this is a very, very important thing about IP rights in general, also in interoperability.
Yeah, it's simple for the sake of the presentation. With only 7 minutes, I could only include so much. However, yes, the fields can be adjusted to include as much or as little metadata as you'd like to. Ideally, all of it that's necessary for the rights holders.
Okay, thank you very much. And also I would like to know, because you said you can convert to fiat money, how much is that going to be?
So actually, I was talking to a few other attorneys because, my understanding is that public companies can't have a crypto wallet. And so Sharik and I were discussing converting what a rights holder would be paid, or what their interest would be, into US dollars. So that's something that we're hoping to integrate into the system. Will that resolve the securities issues? We're not 100% sure, so we're discussing with other attorneys now. Did that answer your question?
Great, thank you very much. Yeah, I know that wallets and companies are an issue. It is possible, but most don't do it. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, it's not possible yet.
If I could jump in there.
Yes.
Real quick. So one of the things that we're looking into is completely separating the concept of cryptocurrency and the blockchain, because we're not always necessarily solving the blockchain issue with cryptocurrency or vice versa. So one of the things that we're looking at is operating this service on the blockchain and then utilizing blockchain to call APIs or call services that would allow us to transfer just fiat currency into bank accounts directly. And so in so doing that, we would be able to alleviate all of the pains that many of these corporates have with having a wallet, and just purely abstract out anything that has to do with blockchain and cryptocurrency. I hope that kind of added a little bit more to it.
Yeah, it gives more security, because they always feel that cryptos are too volatile. And so I think it also gives them a better feeling to maybe have in fiat money. So thank you very much.
Yep.
I think Tat's question was similar. Can payment be converted to other crypto? Is payment in Polygon automatically, since that's the chain it's on? I don't know, Tat, if you feel like your question was answered or if you had more to ask.
Kind of.
I could definitely answer that directly. We're looking at ways to handle multi-wallet capabilities. I don't know if that's a priority for us right now. I think majority of people would want to be paid in fiat, but we're just going to need to look into that a little bit further. With whom are you working together for converting crypto to fiat? Looking into it once again, we're purely in the discovery phase. Yeah. Development and discovery phase of this thing. So there are a number of different partners that we'd be working with. I don't think that we'd be working with a service that specifically converts cryptocurrency into fiat. One of the things that I'm looking into is purely it's purely maintaining a wallet's amount, or a client or a user's value of how much money they have in their account on the blockchain, and then converting that directly into a bank account. So like there's a chance that we might not even use cryptocurrency for certain users. It's just something that I'm looking into. Lots of stuff to discover. Yeah, sorry for rambling.
No, that's great. Robert asks, how are contract managers and administrators responding? The ones, so there are boutique publishers that seem to be the most interested because, you know, they're not public companies, and they do definitely want to figure out how to capture Web3 income. Concerning contract administrators generally, it's kind of a split. There are some that prefer to enter, you know, sometimes collaborators aren't able to come to an agreement concerning a song, or they don't even know what percentage they have. And so there's a back and forth between sometimes a manager and an attorney to try to determine that amount. And the contract administrator from the publisher is usually the person figuring that out. So half of them are really excited about the technology. Half of them want to stay in their ability to just email and try to figure it out. You know, however, it's any contract administrator will tell you that it's not a simple process to sort out rights. Oftentimes it's quite a pain. So ideally, you know, I wanted to try to create something that might be able to help solve the problem and at least streamline some of the processes.
Looks like we have time for one more question. If anyone has kind of that last lingering thought or question.
I was going to ask just a general one, Danny, I guess more on the experience of participating in this challenge. I guess, what were some of the key takeaways? Because it's helpful for us in the Bertelsphere to know, you know, what did you benefit from? What did you get? Because I think for us, we got a lot just hearing this dialogue and being able to bring this to life, making it more tangible. Because I think I realized on the corporate side of the equation, making things tangible for folks is great. And I think you've done a really good job bringing this to life over the course. But it'd be great to hear your feedback. What were some of your takeaways from this experience?
Yeah, I mean, this is my first application that I've co-created with somebody. Sure, Rick is an extremely experienced developer. My background is in music law, and I've been doing that for a really long time. And, you know, it was neat to try to create something that tackles the Web3 space and also tries to resolve an issue that comes up time and time again for my clients. And then through this experience, I've been able to really flesh out the concept and the idea. In addition, I think the value of the program for me was, you know, the regular check-ins, the feedback concerning the application, and in addition to having access to some of the Bertelsmann personnel to really dig into the application and hear about their day-to-day, such as the BMG, contract administrators, and so on. So that was extremely valuable for me. And thank you very much for including us.
And thank you for participating.
I just wanted to add in there from my side, this is my third music tech product. So like building the product side isn't that big of a deal, but like the Web3 NFT space was just so wild and diverse. And just hearing just all of these new thoughts and ideas and feedback about how people are using all of these Web3 things, and like just helped me understand it so much better. And so that's my value, and that was my takeaway for it. And so thank you for that.
No, and thanks. And we saw how you incorporated the feedback into everything. So it's, like I said, so great to see it come to life. And we look forward to seeing this come to the next layer after this experience.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Exactly as Freddie said. Once again, good job, SLYCE. Thank you so much. I wish we had more time with each team, but unfortunately, or fortunately, on to our next team, EvergreeNFC, and I will throw it over to Andrew.
Can you all see my slide?
We cannot see your screen.
That is strange. Ah, okay. I have to click this button using Chris's. How about that?
Ah, there we go.
All right. Okay. Thank you for the opportunity, Robert and Freddie and teams. This is Andrew Hopkins, and I'm going to be talking to you about non-fungible content. Non-fungible content means digital files, individual, secured, exclusive digital files that are access controlled, rights are enforced, and completely unique. And we can do this on any kind of file. And we do this without tokens. What we want to be, what we're trying to do with this is to become the default platform for all creators. Creators motivate us, and we want to give them a platform that allows them the best opportunity to drive revenue from what they care about. The fundamental problem that we're solving is that digital files on the web are easily stolen, easily copied, and scarcity cannot be established in a file that is of infinite copies, and digital ownership essentially becomes meaningless. NFTs don't solve this problem. The NFT is essentially a proxy for a digital asset, like a video. The NFT is almost a separate asset class with its own market and with its own value, and that value is often tied to crypto. And NFTs offer very little protection, if any, against piracy of the original file. So the original problem of scarcity still remains. Finally, by attaching transactions to a token, there are many more opportunities to drive revenue if you attach revenue to the transactions on the file itself. The opportunities NFT leave on the table are considerable. So what does EvergreeNFC do? We essentially enforce creator control. The creator has unlimited opportunity to create exclusive experiences. A creator can create a video that only plays after dark, a video that cannot be played in California, a video, a sad song that only plays when it rains. And these rights are attached to the file itself, and we're able to enforce them on the asset itself. And again, we do all of this without tokens. Very quickly before I play a video, how this works, and it's as simple as I can possibly make it, I hope. So a creator creates a video, saves it, and saves it in the normal way to EvergreeNFC. We encrypt that original file, we burn it to its own blockchain, and we don't use tokens, so we are able to file any kind of file of any size on its own individual unique blockchain. We add the creative rights and commercials as rules and smart contracts onto that blockchain. On the right-hand side, a collector at the bottom can buy that song on any marketplace. We don't care what the marketplace is. We execute that transaction. We write the new owner as a new block onto that blockchain, and we grant them access with a key. After that, whenever the collector uses or accesses that song, we process the relevant smart contracts associated with that song. And if there are funds due to the creator, we make that happen. And so essentially everything sits on its own blockchain. We have the metadata, the song, its history, its rules, its smart contracts, all on the same place on its own blockchain. Let me show this in action.
In a world beset by climate change, while Bitcoin uses more electricity than Norway, and apes are so bored that they neither contain nor control their own artwork, enter evergreen non-fungible content. Create in your favorite software, then take your music, writing, artwork, spreadsheet, the voodoo you do so well, and use EvergreeNFC to save them the blockchain without cryptocurrencies and therefore no additional environmental impact. Encrypt your creations and permanently control them with smart contracts. Control where, when, and how your creations are used. Sell a book for a day, a week, a month, or a year. Sell sad songs that only play at night. Here we are creating a photo NFC that can only be used during the month of September. Use any information on your device like this: date, time, weather, network, nearby users. The uses are literally endless. Benefit from every sale and resale, every use and reuse. Sell your products in any store. Let's create a unique NFC of this photo of birds at sunset, shot in Mallory Square, Key West. Once we've created the NFC, it is available in the store. Here we are purchasing it with a different account. Now that it's in this new account, we can load that NFC. Notice that once this second account purchased a unique NFC, it is no longer in this original account. Whether for sale or resale, NFCs are a new type of hybrid goods. Like hard goods, EvergreeNFC hybrid goods have unique IDs passed from buyer to seller and cannot be copied or replicated. EvergreeNFC, permanent command and control for all your content and data.
And thank you to Chris for his dulcet tones and the voiceover. So why is this important? So we can do this for all creators and all types of content. And we can work with any type of publisher, anybody in the ecosystem. And we sit behind and can work with any type of marketplace, whether that marketplace is fiat or whether it's NFT, we don't really care. Fundamentally, what we're doing by establishing scarcity in the actual videos and the actual songs and the actual ebooks that creators are creating, we're offering new revenue opportunities, and we're also reducing revenue losses from piracy. The team, very quickly, it's an experienced team, lots of gray hair. We built our core platform and we plan to be launching this product later on in Q4. Finally, thank you for the opportunity to do this, Freddie and Robert. This has been a tremendous amount of fun. And I'll leave you with this thought, which is how we view things. Do you want the Mona Lisa or do you want the receipt? Thanks very much.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Andrew. Great to see that. And as before, I'll throw it to our audience for Q&A. Again, you can use the chat or the raise hand function to ask any questions that may be on your mind. Let's see, from Allison, did you interview any creators or managers as part of this process to validate if they want, need, or are looking for this new type of asset class?
Yes, we did. We were able to talk with somebody on the music side, and I apologize for forgetting her name, but she was, the part that she was most interested in was the idea of being able to create exclusive, sort of one-of-a-kind type content. Although we can support, wide release, share to anybody songs or things of that nature, the idea of being able to create exclusive stuff was very, very interesting to her in particular. And we have spoken to, authors and others outside of this project to validate what we think. And part of the value of this, if you like, is that creators can decide what they want to do. We're not trying to define you should do this or do that. What we're trying to give them is a platform that allows them to do whatever they want and to monetize it in the way that they see fit.
And then, sorry, just a follow-up question to that. If that's the case, then presumably the creator is responsible for driving the audience to the platform to find the good and purchase the experience.
So,
or do you envision like a marketplace where, because then you'd have to acquire a whole audience that would be looking for this type of experience?
Well, I mean, let me make it very specific. I mean, we have a marketplace which is essentially a demo marketplace, but we're not creators. We're not in the business. So the way that we would envision, for example, working with you is for you to have the marketplace and to drive, you know, and your creators to drive adoption as you normally would. All we're doing is sitting behind you and offering a service that we think is unique in the market.
Thank you.
Tad, I see. What chains are you using? Chris, why don't you just take that one because you explain it better than I do. Chris,
It helps if I unmute first. As Scott was so kind to point out, you know, blockchain is a data architecture. So we're using a generic standard-based architecture of our blockchain of our own. But we support, you know, we're a platform that sits in the middle. So we support any blockchain you want. You want to use Ethereum, you want to use Bitcoin, whatever you want to use is fine. And we're the same way with other encryption tools. And we're the same way with languages for our API. Whatever you want, we can plug in and support on the platform.
And then a follow-up question would be, if you're selling your digital goods in this, what is the payment system? Is it automatically fiat, or can you opt to get paid in Bitcoin, Ethereum, and so forth?
You can use any payment system you want. Again, we're a middleware platform, so we support anything that you want to plug into us.
The transaction takes place on the marketplace that then feeds to us. So we can support any type of, as you say, as Chris said, any type of payment mechanism. What was
Looks like we have a question from Robert. Sorry, Andrew, what was the aha moment behind the change from NFT to NFC and removing tokens in general?
Well, yeah, okay. When we first started this, Robert, thanks. That's a good question. When we first started this, we decided that we should jump on the NFT bandwagon because there's so much hype around NFTs. And then the more we dove into it, two things happened. We kind of realized, look, we're not doing tokens. So it's disingenuous for us to claim that we are. So there was a very practical thing. And then, you know, present company excluded, there's a lot of interesting dialogue going on in the NFT world. And on the one hand, there are true believers, and frankly, on the other hand, there are an awful lot of people who are taking a great deal of time to explain why NFTs will never achieve mass traction. We don't really care, right? But we wanted to then switch and distinguish ourselves from the NFTs. I mean, we actually believe that we make the NFT markets better, right? But equally, for those who don't like NFTs, we're equally available and applicable to them as well. And there's a lot of folks who fall into both camps. So we're trying to sit in the middle and offer a service which is directly at creators. And so that was a long way of answering the question. We believe what we do is unique, but we believe we offer value to people who want to use NFTs and people who don't.
To answer the other part of the question, I have patents on distributed data management systems dating back to 1999. In fact, we were doing 125 million page views a month for Bilo in 2001 on a distributed data management system that had a vastly complex back end that we couldn't explain to anyone, and I shan't even try right now. And a few years ago, I was reading about blockchain, and I said one of those sarcastic things you tend to say inside your head, which was, I could have really built a great distributed data management system on blockchain if we did away with all this cryptocurrency overhead. And then I realized that was actually a thing if it was possible. And so Jeffrey and I spent 2 years building out a platform that did exactly that. And then about 6 weeks or so ago, Jeffrey, who is actually here, but being shy and remaining off camera, I think you can see his foot, so sticky in the edge there, said, you know, we should change this from NFT to NFC for non-fungible content, and then complain for the next 6 weeks as we had to find every place we'd written NFT and change that branding. So
Thank you.
I think for me, I'll ask the experiential question again to the two of you, because obviously we've seen a journey here. We learned about Chris's vocal skills and a little bit more of his background as everything went on. So when you look at this experience, what were some good key takeaways for you from this experience as we look at it, engaging with Bertelsmann, and maybe some aha things you learned about our organization as a result of doing this challenge?
Yeah. First off, without knowing what to expect, it exceeded our expectations. I mean, the Bertelsmann team as a whole has been remarkably open to what we're saying and to sharing feedback and to answering questions, because we recognize and realize and experience here and beyond this, what we do is somewhat different. And it takes a moment to explain it, particularly when Chris is explaining it. But everyone has been extraordinarily helpful to us. And, you know, to Alison's point earlier, we've been able to talk to people on the creator side, on the creation side, and say, look, here's what we're doing. What do you think? And that's been extraordinarily helpful. I mean, we've even had conversations on the healthcare side in Bertelsmann about, well, does this apply into healthcare records? Yes, it does. We're completely data and content agnostic. So the engagement, the involvement, the interest has been phenomenal on both sides. And, you know, you've been exceptional in helping us gauge the right people, and both you and Robert have been very supportive. So it's been invaluable to us to help us understand what's going on in the market, so that we can, you know, understand better what we need to do. And frankly, we've learned from Danny and the Mowies team as well as we've gone through this. They brought a perspective that we've not had, which has been helpful. And the speakers too. Scott on, you know, and Tad have been amazing. We learned a lot from both of those people.
yeah, I'll second that. One of the biggest pieces, I mean, you know, my background is this, before I got into technologies, as a writer and a photographer, but Jeffrey and myself, and to a lesser extent Andrew, are bad as guinea pigs for these things, because, you know, our idea of a really good user interface is C prompt, you know, so it's not really, you know, so our ideas, I mean, sad songs that only play when it rains or at night, is that insane or a good idea? So being able to actually engage with people who are working in the business every day and say, okay, is this crazy? Is this interesting? And most of all, what's your pain point? What are you really struggling with here? And you know, the bridge between what technology makes possible and what businesses need is always a difficult one to build, because it's a bridge of understanding both sides simultaneously.
Thank you, Chris. Thanks, Andrew.
Thank you both. If anyone has any last lingering question, we have time for one more. Otherwise.
And before we go on, if anybody wakes up in the middle of the night, not that you will, and say, God, how do they do that? What about this? We're always open to continuing the dialogue, fielding questions. This happens a lot. So thank you again for the opportunity.
Thanks for that offer, and thank you both for the presentation. Really great to see after all these weeks, especially the progression through this challenge. So on to our next and final team. Thank you, Robert, for Mowies demo and Q&A, and I will hand it off to Benjamin.
Hi, everyone. Thanks. We're going to make a quick presentation with Alejo, but where we are now at the moment, it's been a long journey. I think Alejo will be able to narrate it as we've been living it through. Alejo, if you want, let's start sharing the presentation as you have the last version, or I can. Excellent. Good. and you're in mute, Alejo.
Oh, can you see it? Can you see the presentation?
Yes,
Hello,
we can see it.
So first of all, thank you. Thank you to the New York City Media Lab, to the Bertelsmann team. All of you have been great through this journey, which it has been a journey for us. And it's like dealing with the market, learnings, teachings, hardships. And as I always consider, the obstacles the way, and has forced us to look at the things that were working, that wasn't working, and where were the opportunities. In this journey, we pivoted and we kind of like switched strategies, but I think we came to a place where we all feel comfortable that we are going to make a huge impact. The project we're going to present right now, it's been cooking for a while. Robert knows a little bit about it, but it's in a joint partnership with a UK European company called Pause TV. So it's both companies with our learning and our experience with creators, creator needs, and everyone involved in the industry on the needs and the whats and the hows of what we need to do. So everything starts with a question of how can we connect the world of the people that is wanting the content and what they want to consume and the ones that want to create and go out. And at the end is like giving the discoverability for the companies and the tribes and the audience that is looking for that kind of content, but also giving the creators the tools to be and get discovered. And this is, how do you say, ecosystemic solution that we needed to address. We've been looking for that holy grail for a long time with our platforms, both of us, accomplishing a lot, but Web3 brought to us the light. You know, it's like, where are we gonna find those solutions? So it's like, wouldn't you love to have invested in major talent before they were then major talent, before they were like this dreamers, you know, like with ideas and projects, and either invest in them or invest in their first film, their first book, their first dream they ever had. And we know, because we live the pains of our industry, and one of this is discoverability is one of the most difficult things for everyone, either to get discovered or to discover someone that is coming up, and giving it transparency and giving it and taking out the intermediation and making it more of a support system where everyone's working towards a common good, and everyone that's bringing value will see the value generated. So it starts with tribes. It starts with us connecting. So we know there's an opportunity, and we needed to create a solution or a set of solutions that allow to invest, monetize, enjoy, share, engage, and own. And that's how taking and looking at where the world and the market, where it's going, we know is the correct bet. Not only because, yes, the technical solution blockchain is bringing decentralization, because also we're going back to a tribal economy and tribal dynamics that will allow us to invest and discover talent that, you know, we know the audience, we know they're willing to pay for them. We know they're coming up. So that's how the Medici, so that's how the Medici project was born. And I'm gonna tell you what it is about. So it kind of like the key thing is the wallet. The Medici wallet, it is not only a payment tool. It lets you create, it lets you connect with the audience and sell however you want to sell, but it lets you track income. It lets you own the data. It lets you, but it's as we see the wallet in the future of Web3, is also the place where you're going to be, your content is going to live and you're going to consume it. For us, wallets are not only an exchange solution, is where you have your NFTs, either their films, either their pictures, either their books, and it's from your wallet that you're going to carry it around. And as a content creator, it is from where you're going to sell, is where you're going to transact. So the wallet for us is the future of the creator economy, and we want to get there with the Medici wallet. But all this connected through a token called the Florin token, that lets you share, watch, develop, engage to earn, staking, farming dynamics for investors, liquidity pool, all the dynamics a token has. But It lets creators create their sub tokens and create their sub DAOs and manage their tribes and their communities, all tied to this major token. Why? Because through the journey, we discovered that for creators, managing their brand, managing their own names is key. We look back at where we've been successful or where we're not, and even though we're like touched thousands of creators around the world, not all of them made it. Not all of them made money. So we had to go back and look at the creators that were making $20,000, $1,000, $100,000 in our platforms. And what we discovered, these are people that are taking care of their own tribes. They're connecting our solutions to their own brand. They're putting like their branding on top of that and showing it. So this is people that care about what they're creating. So we had to give them also the opportunity, not only to use, oh, we're using Ethereum. No, I'm using the Andrew coin. I'm using the Freddie coin. I'm using this because it's part of my brand and it's connected to a higher something. But the Florin token is also, there's a DAO behind the Florin token with their own goal, or the only goal, to invest, discover, reward, award, and distribute and launch top creators and their creations. So all this ecosystem has this layer on top, because creators, when they're starting out, going from 0 to 1, I think is the hardest step. So as a DAO, we have the chance to look at, okay, who's valuable to the community, who's bringing valuable content. Let's support them on their initial journey, or let's award them like later on. So this is a whole ecosystemic solution that we're coming up. And both companies that are joining for this are companies that are doing like already successful and have already like learnings, and we have validated a lot of the things we're talking about and why we're building this solution. And together, we kind of cover the whole world, you know, with Pause, where we have major presence in Europe and in the UK and even USA. And with Mowies, we have the coverage in Latin America. And we're talking about, you know, thousands of creators around the world that are already monetizing and looking for better solutions on this end. So the team that has come together, I think it has all the qualifications for what we will achieve and what we're looking for, from Rishi, from Pause, from me and Mowies and Ben and Serge, who are here with me. I see Serge doesn't have his camera on, but it's like, we have the experience, we have the drive, we have the learnings, and we've gone through the valley of death, survived, come back again, and that's why we're bringing this. And we believe that the Florin token, the Medici wallet, and the DAO are the future of the creative economy. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Alejo. It's really, although it's been a journey, it's really good to see and hear about it now. Once again, I'd like to open it up to the audience for questions for Alejo and Ben and Sarge, if Sarge is here. Yes, Sarge is here.
I'm here.
Well, while people are warming up with their question, yeah, I'm just going to take the floor, and also like to thank the team at New York City Media Lab and Bertelsmann. I think they were great supporting us in our numerous pivots. And I think it was also great to be able to test our ideas on the way and having the access to people that were like going through the same topics. So with the other startup, but also people at Bertelsmann and New York City Media Lab. So thanks again. I think there was a lot of learning on both sides. So thanks again.
Arena, sorry, Alejo.
No, go ahead.
Arena asks, how did you market test your solution?
Okay, so collectively with Pause TV, we have launched 3 NFT collections, and among our thousands of creators, we have a constant, and during the program, one of our most important things was the discussion with the creators and actually testing not only this solution, several solutions that we wanted to bring and figure out how to take those next steps. So even though we don't have an MVP, we do have the platforms, and we do have 3 collections of NFTs with involved and active communities that we have been talking about and discussing. And actually the concept of the Medici and the Florin coin and acting as a DAO and as a discoverability tool for new artists and creators came from those communities. You know, like we just validated the assumptions with the data we have from, you know, like other technology, how do you say, tools that we've created, and we just connected it.
Robert asks or says, tell us more about the challenges of the marketplace that contributed to your pivot.
I think there are several. Growing a marketplace is always challenging. You're playing with a lot of sides, going from offer, demand, and all that. So one of the things we quickly, or I guess not that quick, but we quickly discover is kind of like looking at, okay, we were looking for audiences for creators, and it wasn't working. It wasn't sustainable. Our unit economics were not profitable. So we had to look like, where is it working? And we went to look at these creators that were bringing thousands of people, recurring revenue. And what we quickly discovered is that they weren't using the platform as the platform. They were actually creating their own platform out of the tools we were giving them. So we said, oh, that's where the answer is. We need this hustling, hustling creators that are putting, you know, the job of creating community, creating audiences, publicizing, doing the homework on the other side, and just giving them the tools. Like even the answers and the strategies that were coming up is like surprised us, you know, doing live events in Instagram to throw people to sell something on their own shop and stuff like that. So we decided, we said, oh, what we need to focus is give creators and give companies the ability to create their own platform with their own brand, and just give them the tools where they can experiment and do that. So when we decided to do that, we were also fundraising. And our fundraising process was kind of like an accident, or how do you call it? Like very up and down. And the main investor we had an investor for $5 million. We had our term sheet signed and everything in place. He fell off because of political reasons. So we had to restart our whole fundraising strategy. We decided to go Web3 way, raise with our community and everything. We launched our first collection, was successful. Our second one was going to be bigger, but then the market crashed. So it is something you don't account to, but it does happen. So we cannot actually, like, the value of the money we had went down to almost nothing, and our cash flow was kind of like strangled. So we had to figure out what we were going to do and restructure the company and restructure the plan. But I think out of those things came opportunities. One is switching and creating a model that is sustainable, you know. So it's kind of like not going for like the eternal investment rounds and promising revenue in the future. It's like, we got to be sustainable, and we need a new model for that. And also during the program, we had the opportunity to recreate, and we had all the support from the NYC Media Lab team, from the Bertelsmann team to do it and kind of like change paths and reconfigure everything, and came in a company from the Europe, and that it was in the same quest. You know, it's a little bit bigger than us, but it's got the same experience, the same learnings, has the same vision, and it already has some tools that are complementary to ours. So it's kind of like join forces to take over the world with this and become a global project, but like straight from when we go out. So it's been quite a journey. It's not ended. And as I say, like, focus on the light. 80% is on the light, 20% is dealing with the darkness. learn from your experience, and the obstacle is the way, and there's only one way but forward and up. So thank you.
Well said, Alejo, and that's why we've enjoyed having you and Benjamin, Sergio, and team, because people, you invest in people, resources, time, what the lab and Bertelsmann do. And so thank you for that.
Yes, exactly. And I know Freddie will have a final question. So I'm just going to get to one more in the chat. For that, Allison just had a comment that it might be interesting for you to look at Inkit and InkShares, two startups that are basically crowdfunded publishing companies. They are not Web3 based, but there may be some useful learnings there for you, at least on the publishing side. And our last question is before Freddie's, of course, is from Tat, and why XFL?
Well, actually, all right. So I'm not familiar with Florin, but did you guys create Florin? I'm just curious why you went with that route.
Yes, sir. Our coin or a token it is an L2 token right now that living on the Ethereum blockchain. Sergio is here. He can explain a little bit, but the Florin is our own token. And we went that way because we want, as always, identity. And we want to create a tribe movement behind it. So all the values and the branding and everything. And the also is like kind of like the holder or the great DAO tribal thing for creators to create their sub tokens tied to that one. So that way we have one major token where the tribe contributes and brings value, because one of the things we want is everyone to be, how do you say, conscious that we're all building this together. So if I bring value to me and my community, I'm also bringing value to the creative and the creator community. And if I do good, I also gain, like, how do you say, level up within the community, and I can vote, and I will be able to support newcomers. So it's a identity tribal. We knew early on that we could just use, like, yeah, let's go Polygon and use it, but it's more of kind of like giving this tribe an identity with a concept.
Thanks for that question, Tat, and we'll end it with Freddie's question.
I think I have more of a comment because I feel like they might have answered some of it, and hearing you guys both talk now, and I'm sure hopefully Sergio agrees with this too. I'm hearing that song in my head. Anybody who's been part of this journey with you for this part, I hear the song, I get knocked down again, but I get up, and all of those things. It's just like, so firstly, kudos for bringing it back to life, which is definitely an interesting thing, because I know you've been going back and forth with Robert. You even exceeded my expectations for today because I didn't know you were coming out, and you've been reinvented. So I just want to say that that's a beautiful thing, seeing how that's going. And we look forward to learning more about where you guys are going to be going in your journey. So thank you again for participating and bringing your life and energy and just being positive and really embodying, you know, a value that we have in Bertelsmann that we call the entrepreneurial spirit. And you guys totally have it. You didn't let anything take you down. You just turned it around. So thank you and kudos.
And thank you all for the, sorry, Ben, go ahead.
No, thanks for the warm words. So thanks again.
Yeah.
Directly where it's making us trust. Thanks.
Yeah. And one of the most important things in the entrepreneurial journey, which is a very lonely journey, is having that support and that belief and those words and that encouragement. Trust me, there was a moment that I was kind of like lost, and just like Robert's words of like, now, well, let's do it. Don't stop. And what do you want to do? Even if it's just sharing the journey with people, that brings value, and it kind of like brings light to you, you know, in those dark, desperate moments. And you do need that help. And it's not something like coming out alone is really hard. So thank you for being there to all of you.
No, and kudos, and you built so much infrastructure, so it's good to see how you built upon it again. You're here.
Yes, definitely. Well, kudos to Mowies. Thank you for your presentation. And again, thank you and kudos also to EvergreeNFC and SLYCE. We've really enjoyed working with all of you over the past I don't know how many weeks because it was an extended 12 weeks, but the past few months, I'll say. It's been really great. And so next we get to hear from our mentors. We're going to get to hear a little bit about their journey, their process, their reflections during this challenge. And so for that, I will have Freddie kick us off.
Yeah, sure. And then you can just turn the slide off because it'll be easier for me to see who's kind of here, I guess. And really, firstly, I just want to say thank you to all the mentors, because I know there's a lot of people that participated in this program that aren't here today. And for those of you that haven't met me before, because I think there's a few new names even for me on here, I'm Freddie Helrich. I work in the corporate HR group at Bertelsmann. I get around the Bertelsphere somehow globally. So I've met a lot of folks and had a lot of different engagement. So thank you for joining. And then I'll just call some of the names. I'm sorry, mentors, that we didn't call you out, but we're thankful for your participation. You know, and it's good for us to learn, did this structure work for you? Because in the beginning, I know some of my thoughts, I thought, oh, we're going to create like a next great company or thing for Bertelsmann to buy or whatever. And then quickly realized through the way that we shaped this in the process that I looked at it more as a learning experience and a learning opportunity. Because I think in corporate America, when we try things, that means taking a risk. And we take a risk, sometimes our accounting departments aren't quite friendly with that, or people don't have the time, or people don't have the resources. So I think by engaging with these startup teams and with the help of the New York City Media Lab, so thank you, New York City Media Lab, we were able to have some tangible examples that we can play with, and for lack of a better word, a living sandbox where we all come together. So I thank you for looking at that format, and I hope we can expand and grow with that. But it'll be great to learn some of your thoughts and takeaways that you might have had from this, and any comments or anything. So JR, I'm going to start with you because it looks like you got a new haircut and you're ready.
Yeah, I got them all cut. Thanks, Freddie. Whenever Freddie asks me to do anything, I always do it, right? Like Freddie emails or calls and says, hey, participate in something. I know it's going to be inspiring education. I'm going to educate it with it. It's going to be a great experience. So I was so happy to be part of this with everybody. And on the Fremantle side, we make a bunch of TV shows and been talking about NFT and Web3 and on the blockchain for a couple of years now. We've done some stuff over at Fremantle. But what I took away from this, it's just great to see what people are doing to push in this space. We've also spent the last couple of years dealing with digital collectibles in the NFT space. But each partner here, it's more than that, right? We see people building tribes and really building a community and more than marketing something to somebody, but building something that people can own. We've seen some amazing back-end tech with SLYCE, which is something that is important to all of our companies, like music rights. I deal with that kind of stuff all the time. And then of course the company removing the T from NFT, right? That's amazing. So these are three amazing forward-thinking projects in this space that go beyond where we are now, right? And I think they got to a great place. As Freddie was saying, we think maybe you thought this is going to be a thing where Bertelsmann will invest in some of these companies or get a new or join with another company, but it's fine if it didn't end there, right? Because it's like talent connections and information pipeline. We're all trying to figure this out. Everybody on this screen, I spent so many hours talking about this stuff with people at Bertelsmann and outside companies and getting information. It's just great to have practical, real world things to share and go through this experience together. So I loved it. Hopefully I was able to contribute some insights, just because we all have pieces of insights, right? We all have 30% of the puzzle. And I think coming together, we made something really cool here.
Thank you, Jaron. Appreciate the help of you and the help of your team. And then Allison, I'm looking at you and thank you for your help here and all the other places I know that you help, because I know you bring the book publishing perspective. So it'd be great to hear some of your thoughts.
Sure. Interestingly, Freddie, I'm just coming off of a Bertelsmann Creativity Bootcamp, which Elise on this call was a winner of. So we think about innovation for authors all the time, including in partnership with Bertelsmann at PRH. And thank you all for the great work. It was amazing. I think I missed a meeting last week, so it was amazing to see the transformation of those presentations, to Freddie's point, in the final days and hours probably. But mostly thank you. I think the work you're all doing to serve creators is super important. We think about that a lot in terms of how to serve our authors, who are often lost and overwhelmed by changing formats and platforms and ways to monetize their content and to do it in a way that keeps them close to and true to their fans. So I just was really impressed with how you were all kind of approaching that and thinking really creator first. So thanks for that, and look forward to see where all of the ideas go.
Thank you again, Allison. We'll have to give Matteo a big thank you as well. And then we have Nick. And you're representing the Arvado world, which I know wasn't on any of the charts or slides, because just so everybody knows, we had a few extra groups participating that weren't listed there. So I'll let you introduce yourself, your group, and maybe a few key takeaways.
Thanks, Freddie. Yeah, I'm Nick. I'm from Arvado Systems, and we're more on the service provider side and helping media companies in building their workflows and making the best out of their content. And I think that's also really cool to see. So I was just doing the IBC trade show in Amsterdam, which is one of the broadcast specific trade shows in the market. So there was also everyone talking about the metaverse, Web3, NFTs, tokens, but I think the core essence here also, and that's what also JR said, it's about like, what cool ideas can we come up with to expand our reach, to serve the community, and to have great use cases. And it's not so much about the technology. This is more supportive, but it's really more like this energy that is being generated in finding new ways and totally new ideas, totally new concepts. That's, I think it's exceptional and definitely also driven by this whole Web3 community idea. But I think it's not about the tech, it's about the great ideas. And that's so cool to see here as well within the three ideas. And we need more of that. And I think everyone is searching for that cool new idea. And it was really great to participate here.
Thank you so much, Nick. We appreciate the support of you and your team. And then I'll call on Anna, because I know Anna came in a little bit later, but I know her questions were always amazing and technical. So that's when you really make me realize that I'm the HR person. I still got a decent amount of learning to do, but I appreciate that we have a resource like you in the organization now.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I'm so sorry. Sometimes I felt like, oh my God, now she's asking a question again. But yeah, I came in late and still I felt like some things I just need to know, because I have been in the space and I've seen so many rug pulls, so many problems coming up, also with royalties, etc. And I think it's better if we ask these questions in the beginning, when we can still do something about it or understand it, because there might be solutions and we just figured this out. There were always answers. So this was so great to just have this conversation and see what people are coming up with ideas for things that haven't been solved yet. And I see so many problems in the space still, and it's cool, especially about the IP rights and about where do we store things. These are the basic questions that we have to answer on the technical side, maybe not for the customer, because I think we really have to differentiate between what we call the metaverse on one side, which is more like the experience, and then the technical side where we really have to build and make it right. And here we are on the technical side, really building these structures, the infrastructure that has to be trusted on, because this is why we're here with Bertelsmann. I think this is, you know, all other companies, they come up. Yuga Labs has been existing for 1 year now. And this is so different from a company that really has this trust factor and that we have to deliver to our customers too. So thank you very much. It was a pleasure for me to be here with you, although it was just for 1.5 months. But I have had so many learnings and so many great experiences and met so many great people here. Amazing.
Well, that's where I have to start almost putting in the shameless plug that we're going to need a group of people for the next challenge, but we'll figure that one out later on. Thank you, Anna.
Okay.
And then I think, Elise, you took a couple of phone calls with some of our groups, or no?
Not really. I think I asked everything within the chat.
I was switching to Elise now. I was just, I'm going on. I'm being shameless. I'm just trying to figure out, I don't want to miss anybody that helped us out here.
Yeah, no worries at all. I spoke with Evergreen and had a really great conversation with them. I thought that their technology was extremely interesting, and I think together we really came up with some use cases that would be, interesting to maybe try at some point. So have really enjoyed it, really enjoyed all of the presentations, and, just love seeing how this new technology is going to make better experiences for in our case, fans, and also deliver, more revenue in interesting ways to our talent. So just have enjoyed the past hour or so here.
Thanks so much, Elise. And then shameless plug, we'll hopefully be able to call you in more for the next challenge. And then the next person, I would say, Rebecca. I think that's the last person, because I know you've been on a few calls with us as well.
Totally. Does this work? I just got a new monitor. Okay, great. Yeah, I didn't have any personal one-on-one conversations with any of the teams, but I've been really excited about being a part of this project, just seeing how it develops. I love the process of starting with an initial idea and thinking it's really great, but then getting the outside information and the input, and then how it pivots and then is created into something even greater. So it was really great for me, just from a learning perspective, as you said, Freddie, to be part of this. And yeah, I'm also excited to see where the projects will go. And hopefully we'll be able to use some of them in both spheres.
Thank you so much. And I'm not missing anybody, so I think now I can turn it back over to Lauren and Robert.
Thank you, Freddie. Thank you. Most importantly, SLYCE, EvergreeNFC, Mowies, for letting us go on this journey with you over these past elongated 12 weeks, as we've said. Equally thanks to Anna, Allison, JR, Nicholas, Elise, Rebecca, and you, Mr. Helrich, for bringing them all together and for demonstrating what a wonderful partner Bertelsmann is, not only for academia and the future of these technologies in the media entertainment space, but for the applications. I think between Allison and Elise saying it, here's to serving creators and here's to serving fans, and being able to do that. The journey doesn't end here. This is really more continued dialogues, continued discovery, and continued development. And we look forward to being a part of that with all three of these teams and with Bertelsmann in its various different operating companies and broadly. Next up will be Bertelsmann and collection of you at the New York City Media Lab Summit on October 18th, and a new group of audience, our broad working group, which is that consortium of universities and member companies that you saw at the beginning. But then going on individually and collectively. We've brought you into the family now, and we'd like to see how everyone develops and we can continue to provide resources in whatever way might be helpful. So please continue to call upon us. We will follow up with all of you to create that next follow-up set of conversations and plan things for the next couple of months as it rolls out. But until then, thank you again to everybody who participated here, for everyone today, and for again being part of these really wonderful conversations and discoveries. We'll be all.
And Robert, Lauren, and Freddie, when will be the next batch? How can we help spread the word? Because we've been so well here, so we want to be able to recommend that to the next friends or the next brothers. So yeah,
we will happily bring you into that as soon as we've got the right timing in place. Notably both for marketing, but also for mentoring, for being on the other side of the equation as a speaker, as bringing information or insight, as in any way that you'd like to participate. So yeah, that's how you're part of the family going forward. You get to be the older uncle, aunt, cousin, etc. for the next generation.
And I think to Robert's point, it's just the beginning of a new way of our relationships together. Because, for example, things I've been thinking of, I work with our tech and data groups within Bertelsmann. Sometimes we need different speakers or showcases and different things like that. And I've already thought of some of your different elements respectfully that we might be able to build into some of our programs or programming. So we'll definitely reach out, and remember that's a two-way street. So I think this is just what the next iteration of our relationships will be.
And Tat, thank you for being not only a speaker and a mentor, but showing up here again and providing truly on the street insight as to how these concepts and ideas get brought into the hands of creators or fans. You're right there at the center of it. And we appreciate you taking the time to be at the center of us too.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me. This has been a beautiful experience. Thank you so much.
And with that, until you hear from us again in the ether, watch Slack, watch email. Thank you again for a great demo day, everyone.
Thank you,
Thank
everybody.
you.
Everybody, that was
Thank you.
great.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye.
Thank you.